Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, here on this webinar about Enfocus, Switch, and AI. So there's have been a lot of talks of AI already. A lot of companies are implementing AI in their software, and of course, we don't want to run behind. And we have today a couple of nice examples how you can implement AI in your Switch workflow. We are here together today with Sean from Significance. He is the VP of Technology over there. Sean, hello.
Hello,
Give a
thank you
wave.
for having me.
Together we're here also with Thomas Descamps. He's the automation and telemetry expert from Blue West. Also his colleague Florian is joining this webinar as well. Also, both of you maybe also say hello to the audience.
Hello, hello
Hello,
everyone.
hello.
And of course, myself, if you don't know me yet, I'm David Verstaan. I'm the App Store Manager at Enfocus. So what are we going to see today? A little bit the evolution of automation. Everybody already knows Switch, or maybe already heard about Switch, and how we actually evolved in the latest in those 20 years that we already have Switch in our portfolio, and how also we're going to transform more and more from rule-based automation with the implementation of AI. And again, like I said, this is not theory. We are going to see some live examples here today on how you can achieve this today. Looking at a little bit of the evolution of automation, we started way back if you still remember, with implementations of macros and scripts like, for example, Apple scripts that you were able to run on your Mac, for example, to automate InDesign or to automate Photoshop. That was running on Apple scripts. And we moved on a little bit to robotic processing automation, being able to define, for example, specific rules and specific flows. With the implementation of APIs, we actually had another phase, an integration of third-party systems. And now we reached a level where we can already achieve intelligent automation. We can optimize those processing using robotic processing automation, and of course, in the combination with AI, to identify, for example, patterns. We can actually train AI as well, for example, to do specific tasks, specific to your company, for example. And we can also use that data now to be define specific predictions. Where are we heading into? What is the future, of course, of this automation is more autonomous intelligence, but we're not there yet. There's still a lot of evolution, a lot of development that needs to be done to actually get to that level of autonomous intelligence. But we are growing and we are heading into this environment. A little bit more of the evolution. So what we know today and what every Switch user is already currently using in their company is RPA. RPA, robotic processing automation, is defining, for example, the specific stages of specific processes a job needs to follow in a specific flow, depending on data that we receive from external systems, like, for example, MIS systems, web shops, job onboarding environments, for example. The combination of production files with that data, we can define in the flow, if this has been received, do that or prepare the job like this and send it over there. And once it has been produced, give me back the information so I can also send it back to, for example, an MIS system. Those are more robotic processing automation. The reason why is that you need to define every step yourself. You need to set up those flows. On the other hand, you have now AI. You have a lot of AI web services out there, for example, that can help you with those tedious tasks, where you do not have to set up the whole process manually anymore, but you can use an AI to help you, for example, simplify specific processes in your automation, but also even more reduce manual tasks as well. And this is something that we're going to see today together with Significance and also together with Blue West, because they have developed those apps that will help you in this evolution. Now, how is this called? How is this evolution called? If we're not talking about RPA anymore, what are we talking about? We're talking about IPA. Yes, in Belgium, it's already 4 o'clock, so happy hour can already start in Belgium. But of course, I'm not talking about the beer. Even so, sorry for myself, and maybe I'm going to be talking to some person that do like IPAs, but I do not like IPAs at all. It's too bitter. We're not talking about the beer here. We're talking about intelligent processing automation, and that is combining RPA with AI, and that is what we're going to see today. Again, we're talking about app stores. We're talking about the Works with Enfocus Switch ecosystem. We already have a lot of AI apps on our app store. This is not a recent picture. This picture has already been taken a couple of weeks ago. But if you go to our app store and you select the category artificial intelligence or AI, you will see here all the apps that already use those AI web services or that have AI built into them. Now, of course, this is all beautifully explained. Uh, we're not here to just give you some theories and make you dream. We want to show you what can be achieved. A reasonable, really, an example how you can use AI and automation in your company. And therefore, I actually will ask Sean to take the stage and to share his screen and to already show, for example, how they have contributed in this environment. Sean, the stage is yours.
Great. Thank you very much, Davey. Let me share screen here. All right. And I'm going to shut my camera off so you don't focus on my face. All right. So today I'm going to be talking about 2 apps that we've developed that are now on the App Store. What I'm showing currently is actually an older app, but you'll get some context as we're moving through this. So the first one I'm going to talk about is our new app called Wait for Asset Plus. I'm also going to talk about another app that we've had on the App Store for about a year now, but we haven't actually demonstrated on one of these webinars before, is the Fuzzy Matcher. Now, I'm showing the Wait for Asset because going back to some of what Davey was talking about and also with our Fuzzy Matcher app, this is the same principle that Davey was talking about. It is bridging that gap between true artificial intelligence, the way everyone hears about it, the chat GPTs of the world, as well as sort of your rule-based automation where you're dictating what should happen within a process flow that you develop in something like Switch. I'm showing the old Wait for Asset here. This is a pretty popular app that's on the App Store from everything I've seen. I think, Davey, it's well over 600 plus installs right now. What we've done is we've taken this and we've added more, let's call them advanced features in what we're calling Wait for Asset Plus, which we're making a paid app that's $100 a year. Really the big focal point of this, it's all the same value of what you had on the free version, with the addition of having glob patterns or wildcard searches. So the big issue that I've seen from a lot of people in the past with our original Wait for Asset app is the fact that maybe you're not quite sure exactly what the file name of the file you're looking for is, or there could be a varying combinations of different extensions to those files. This is something that can be challenging, especially if you need to wait for multiple different assets. So what we've also done as well is added up to 10 different assets simultaneously rather than the standard 5 that we have in the original app. If I move over to Switch here and I go to my Wait for Asset examples, we can see I have 4 different examples here, hopefully to demonstrate this type of functionality to enhance what you're looking for right now. So with the first example I have, maybe hypothetically you have a variety of different proofs within your system and you want to search for a proof by a client. So what you can do here is with a wildcard statement, you see I'm looking for, find me in my production server, any folder called Red Rock in the name, go into the proofs folder and then find me all PDFs within that location. And this is maybe not a realistic example because maybe you're going to narrow down to a specific job. But with the wildcard search, we now have the capability to then further filter with a regular expression. So wildcard, asterisks, find something that potentially contains something. But we also implement regular expression to allow you to further filter out the files you're looking for. Lastly, the other property we have in this that differs from the existing is our mode. So with mode, you can stipulate the first, if it's alphabetical, the last file in that list, the most recent, the oldest, or the largest file size.
Sean, can I interrupt you for a second and get some reports that the screen is not visible? Can you just stop sharing your screen and start sharing your screen again?
For sure. Let me do that here. Is that better?
Just asking the audience now if everybody can see the screen now. Yeah, Jennifer, ooh, Daniel, not. Cynthia, okay, Dave, perfect.
It's like there's a few that can't.
Yeah, there's a lot that can. Okay, it is, well, I can see the screen, so that also means that it's going to be in the recording. Sorry about that if you're not able to see the screen, but it will be in the recording, and the recording will be shared with you by mailing tomorrow for everybody that registered and not registered to the screen. So sorry about that, but we're trying. We are going to record the session and we will share it with you. The only remark, Sean, as well that we got, would it be possible to go a little bit at a slower pace?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Stage is yours again.
I'm just trying to be cognizant of the time here. So.
Yeah, but if we go over time, we go over time.
No
go right
problem.
ahead.
I'll just quickly recap for those that, maybe I was going a little too quick, and also for those that hadn't seen the screen previously. So again, I was just mentioning that we have a new version currently on the App Store called Wait for Asset Plus. I was showing the store page. Also within Switch, I have 4 different examples here that I was going to go through. The first of which is a hypothetical example of finding a proof by a client. And so in my first asset property here, again, these same properties are very reminiscent of the old Wait for Asset app. I'm looking at my production server, which is a hypothetical server structure that is varying by jobs. We are searching for a client called Red Rock. And then within Red Rock, we are looking for our proofs folder and then finding all PDFs. And to show you, just to show you what that looks like, it's a hypothetical structure like this, where you have a job number, maybe you have the client name and then a description of the job type. And I have 1,000 sample jobs here that if I go inside any one of these folders, there's a standard folder structure that you might have. So you have your customer supplied files, your working files, your final art, proofs, production, archive. And so again, going back to this example, if I throw any file in this workflow, let's say maybe you have this hooked up to a submit point, or you have something equivalent. I'm just going to throw any random file that I have here. What this does is that uses that artificial intelligence using these wildcard statements that you have set up rather than a hard-coded fixed file path. And it's going to find the file based off the properties I have specified and then return me that result into our found asset folder. Now, exact same setup of what the current free app does, just with the added value of utilizing wildcard statements. Oh, let me retry that job. Davey, I'm also still on 2507, so there might be some issues that I have on my side. But same principle. While that's reworking, I will show another example here. So same principle where we have our production server. Maybe I'd like to find a file in any subdirectory where it contains a specific ID. So in this case, I want to find a job that has the prefix of 0614_02 asterisk. And what this does is, again, it will find any file within a subdirectory with that name. And because of the mode I have specified, I'm saying find me the first file there. So I'm going to drop another file in this location. And while that's running, just to show another example here, I have an example where in this particular case, I want to find a job that maybe exists in a production job folder 0702, but I'm not quite sure maybe what that client name was or the description of the folder. But I want to find any files within the customer files folder that is a Word document or an EPS file, because maybe the client mentioned, hey, can you reference this old customer supplied? And maybe you have this in an automated workflow behind the scenes. You don't want your team to manually go search for files. So same principle, I'm just going to drop a random file in here to trigger this automation. And what's going to come out is a matching file based off those preferences. So just going back to my final art, we see that it found a file called 0614_02_ business card. And looking at our convention, that file also did not actually exist in that original location. So if I go to 0614 and I look inside of really any one of my folders, I might not actually see a file with that exact name. So in my final art, I'm actually missing 02. So it's entirely possible that that file has been misplaced in another job folder, or someone on the team, maybe prepress it, accidentally saved it somewhere else. So what this has done, you could have 100,000, you could have 1,000,000 assets in a production folder, and it's going to logically go through every possible folder, find the file based off the pattern you're looking for, and return you that file, rather than in the original setup, it simply errors out because it can't find the file, and then you have to do some digging to find that result. And then same with the customer supplied by extension. We have found our asset, and in this case, it found a letterhead.docx. Maybe that's a file that the customer supplied, and we are finding the latest copy of that file, where if there was another document there that was slightly older, it wasn't going to reference it. So this is sort of a couple simple examples of how you can utilize a little more advanced AI with the Wait for Asset Plus app. Lastly, I do have, just to show you some different pattern guides, I created this little simple HTML page just to demonstrate some of the basic wildcard statements if you're not familiar with how wildcard works. And this is something I can certainly supply if anyone needs it, though all this is documented inside of the app as well when you hover over. And so I just wanted to make it a little bigger for people to see. So our basic wildcard statements, a lot of what I was doing here, we can look for single characters. So maybe you have reports sorted by a numerical value as an example. We can look for specific character classes. Maybe we want to look for all files that only have A, B, or C in the name. Or again, you saw my example with looking for extensions. So brace expansion, here are some couple options here. We can, of course, look for negative look-aheads type thing, where maybe you only want to find files that don't start with backup. And then our pattern matching for directories. So you want to look for immediately all subdirectories or every subdirectory of that location. There's a lot of varying combinations of wildcard patterns that you can use when searching for assets. And the benefit of how this is set up is you can look for multiple combinations. So now that we allow up to 10 different assets, you can really combine and mix and match a lot of these components if you're looking for a proof, but also looking for maybe a matching layout. And in the app, you don't want to move forward until you find both of those files, and then you can advance. It really adds to the complexity that you can create in your workflows. The second app, which I was going to demonstrate here today, was our Fuzzy Matcher app. Now, this is definitely more advanced AI, where the simplest way I can explain what fuzzy matching is for those of you who might not be familiar, it's very similar to when you type something in Google and Google says, did you mean this, right? You misspelt a word, or for whatever reason, you fat fingered the keyboard and you added an extra character. It could potentially auto-correct whatever you entered. Now, how would you use this within a switch environment or within your workflow? Very similar to the wait for asset. I'm using a couple other apps here just to implement the functionality, but we can use the free folder apps from Enfocus to maybe scan a directory. Again, I'm looking at the production server. And then maybe with the fuzzy matcher app, you can look up maybe a file name and then return back a results of any of the files that have a similar name matching. And so what that does when you run this, it's actually going to give you a little bit of a report back that tells you, here's my search term, and then here's the corresponding files that match similar to that search term. So I searched for business card, and then it gave me a sorted result of the closest match possible, and it found 061402 business card. So now in a search workflow, maybe I could go pull that file name, or I want to use this data for a report, maybe connect to an API because you pulled this data from an API to go do something with it. So it's finding like terms and reporting back the results of how many matches it found. Now, we had definitely way more than 239 files within our production server, but it went through and reported on the ones that it found to be the most like. Another good example of this would be, which we've actually utilized in one of our client accounts in the past, is you have an MIS system, maybe that you have your job tickets or your just jobs or projects in general, that lists out the colors, the Pantone colors of that job. But the files coming through might not always have the correct file names in the spot color names in the file itself. So what we did in that particular case, and why the fuzzy matcher came to be ultimately, was you want to compare, maybe the file says PMS cool gray C, but in your MIS system, it says Pantone cool gray C. And so what the fuzzy matcher can do is it can, again, find those terms, find the closest match, and make sure that that spot color in the file matches up to what it says in the job ticket, regardless of what the prefix was, or regardless of whether or not they even spelt Pantone correctly or included Pantone within the name in some fashion. Obviously, your mileage can potentially vary, because if someone doesn't enter something correctly in any fashion, and it's no way near, and they just put gray, it's probably not going to match very much. But it's another tool in your toolbox that you can potentially validate input either by your internal team or by the customer in some fashion, and then appropriately report out whether or not you have a correct match. And then with the results of the fuzzy matcher, you can actually check to see, hey, is this correct or is this bad? So in this example, they had a spot color called black. Now with black, it found a variety of different Pantone blacks. Maybe they meant Pantone Black C. And then now you know for sure, okay, here's the closest match. Maybe you want to send that to a checkpoint to have your pre-press validate that information. It's just a quick way for, rather than someone going through every single color, you're essentially generating a little bit of a report that you could format if need be. And yeah, it's just, again, another tool within the toolbox for you to build varying workflows to automate your day-to-day. So lastly, I'll just again reiterate, we have both the Fuzzy Matcher and the Wait for Asset Plus on the App Store. If anyone has any questions, concerns about it, or maybe want to talk about some hypothetical solutions around these, feel free to reach out either through the online support and the app creator page, or sending an email or contacting through phone, that will get to me in some fashion. So with that, thanks everybody for the time. I'll pass it back to Davey.
Well, thank you, Sean. Just looking if there's any questions. If you have questions, please use the Q&A panel in your interface to ask a couple of questions. Of course, after the presentations, we're also going to take some time to ask to actually go through those questions. The only question that I see here, Sean, is from Christoph. I don't see the AI aspect with that search with stars and PDF EPS that you showed. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that one.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, again, AI can obviously be a fairly broad term. In this particular example, this is not the chat GPTs of the world, but you're very much stipulating some sort of high level direction to a machine, and then that machine is iterating on that result. So with wildcard statements or with fuzzy matching, you are still setting some configuration up, but the system is taking that configuration and then running with it.
Yeah, you don't have to really specify every result, every rule. It's based on data. It will actually then perform the task that is asked for. But you don't have to actually be very specific to be able to get the result that you need.
Yes.
Okay. He thanks you as well for your answer, Sean.
Thank you.
No questions until now. Again, please feel free to use the Q&A section. But now we're just going to give the stage to Thomas from Blue West. Thomas, are you still with us?
Yep.
Perfect. So if you can share your screen, I'm just going to double check in the audience. Thumbs up if you can see the screen, please. It's not shared yet, but now it's shared.
And it
So
should
please give
be.
me your thumbs up. Yay! All thumbs up.
Great.
And an applause as well. Thank you for your feedback, guys. Thomas, the stage is yours.
Yep. So we'll talk about AI with Mistral or GPT. For our demonstration, we used Mistral because it's European and most of us are from EU. We had a previous app, which is called iConnect, which already connect with GPT. To be fair, this app was a kind of a joke at the time, just to as a challenge.
Don't say.
Yes,
joke.
it
was an
experiment.
No,
an experiment on a drunk night with Willem from Enfocus. So it was a challenge from him to create an app that will connect to ChatGPT. So you can create some basic prompts, generate some basic image, but that was all. Not such use in production, not such real use. But since then, I have evolved. A lot of new possibility appear on the field on the API, not API, like not API. Sorry. So we begin to have some question from our customer to develop something that will go further with AI. So that's why we developed AI Connect Pro. The main difference between the two versions is the capability to connect to two brands of AI for now. We plan to add some another later, but for now it's only GPT and Mistral. And the possibility to send some attachments to the prompts. So the attachment can be the file itself, datasets, or anything that you can pick up with Switch at any moment within the prompt. So how will it work? For this example, we have a basic flow with a submit point, where we have some metadata, a pitstop server that will pre-flight the file. And the most question that we have from our customer is, okay, I have a pre-flight report, but for my customer, my end customer, it's some gibberish stuff. It's really difficult to understand because it's some technical stuff, some printing technical stuff. So how can I make some simplified email to my customer. And that's why we come with this idea. So in AI Connector Pro, here, I will be able to create a prompt. So it's really a basic prompt. You are an expert in myprintingcompany.com, professional printing company, blah, 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 blah. Your task is to generate a HTML email body with some simplified of this XML report. So in Pitstop server, we will generate a XML report type that will be sent to OpenAI or GPT or Mistral or whatever model you will be using. And I will submit also my metadata from my EAP. I do not have EAP at BlueS, so I just simulate it with the submit points. And from there, it will generate me an answer by email. So let's make a test. I will open here, pre-flight report to HTML. I will send the file, and I will send first a good file. So I simulate my MIS, so Smith & Cooperative, Thomas Deschamps, my email, another name, business card, some things. I want to translate it in English, but since it's an AI, I can say, let's say Japanese. I can't read Japanese, so let's stay in English. And just push my file. Up, it will then, I'll just put a hold of the file. It's actually pre-flighted. In a second, I will have a delightful Pitstop report in XML, which is complicated to read, even for us. And it will send this. I will just receive the email. So there will be a call to Mistral, and I will have an answer. So the answer will be in this form. So I'll have a JSON file, and with this JSON, the content that will be used for my email. So, dear Thomas Deschamps, thank you for your order. We have served, analyzed, and everything. And in my email, I should have hit, it should be here. Okay, I will have my email, and I will never, in this demonstration, the template is only a blank template with this and a button. Everything that is here have been filled by AI. So I will get back my order number, my product type, width, height, number of pages, paper quantity, and a small text. We made a minor adjustment by removing the ECC profile type, and that's all. And all you have to do is some tinkering with the prompt to get it where you want it to be. So I open my template, there is no fluke. Up, my basic template is just there. So header, a footer, a button, and the path to my JSON metadata. Now, if I send a wrong file with some problems, there will be some RVB. I will just change things. Let's say it's a book, for example. There is 16 pages, and submit. And I will again, in a few seconds, have a new mail with everything automatically be written in it. Actually, we use this with some customers that will have multiple language for the customer who are worldwide. So if they have to translate a thing in Japanese, Korean, Bangladesh, whatever you want, it's really easy to do. So I will have my email now. Just a small second. Okay. So it's a book. I will have width and height. And now I have a description of problem. Font has missing glyph. This issue prevents the file from being printing. And please answer all front. So I'll just asked the AI to create me a table with the problem, the type of the problem, the impact of printability, and some suggestion for the customer.
Just to be clear, Thomas, the impact on printability and the suggestion for resolution, that is generated by AI. Eh?
Yes, that's it. So a question could be how Mistral know what we need in printing production. And that's the point actually, which made us creating this. Since few months, I'll say since the beginning of the year, within Mistral, you can add some documents in RAG. So RAG will be a mode where you can add things in Mistral to help him answer on your search. So when you ask him a question, when you create a prompt, it will check inside this file to get predefined response. So here, in this case, I didn't add anything in it, and it's pretty clear. And I think it's pretty okay to go with. But if you need some specific response because you're in a specific field of printing, you could already add this. And you could still add this in the prompt itself. Create a small documentation within the prompt to find info about it. So that's the first part. The second part is being able to do some optical character recognition, so OCR. Often we have a problem with files that we can find in email. We have customers that will send us file like this one. So it's a Photoshop one, but I think you get the point. That's a quotation with a signature. It will be scrambled, and you'll have to pick things from it. You have an email, for example, with a bill, and you don't know when you receive it if it's a bill, if it's a proof file, if you have to read it to understand what's going on. So with OCR, you could put a file in it and get the response. So I'll just put JPEG, PNG, PDF, image, and I will have response. And it's really quick to have response. So for example, that's my scan. So my fake scan, that's it. And I will get, okay, it's a document type of quotation. That's my name. That's my phone number, transaction, price, VTA, tax, and so on. And from there, we will be able to populate, let's say, a checkpoint just to check if everything is okay, or maybe populate a database or do whatever you want. The problem with GPT and why it's better on Mistral right now for OCR is because with Mistral, you can specify which field you need. Because when we talk about automation, we need to have a field that will always be under the same tag. And within Mistral and the app, you will have the capability to say, okay, I need a document type. It will be a string. The type, and you could provide an explanation of what you need in this field. So the type of document, invoice, bill, quotation, production file, receipts. I could say strictly within this. And I will always have either invoice, bill, or quotation if I put only this three. You could say, okay, it's optional, putting a mark here. You could say, okay, it's a number. So it won't fill it with some symbol from the currency, for example. The amount will be a number. And you could ask, okay, amount.currency, transaction.currency. And it will give me USD, euro, or rupee, and so on. And with that, you will be able to grab all the files that come by email or FTP, check either if it's a production file, a bill, a quote, then spread them in your flow to the correct group of people. So that's Mistral. And if you have some, let's say, I can't say it in English, I don't know how. Could you help me, Davy? Note de frais, maybe. When you need to be refund from some bill from restaurant when you go with a customer.
Invoice.
Invoice, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Just invoice and just fill it within the app just to populate.
Yeah. This could be an invoice, this could be a purchase order, this could be a validation of an offer, for example, or a quotation, those kind of things.
So we have a very good question about privacy. Of course, it will be uploaded at some point to GPT or Mistral. The thing with Mistral, it's under a GPD. So the data stay in Europe, which is not the case with GPT. So that's a very good and important question to have. At some point, we will add support with an iConnect Pro for local EA. So if you want to host yourself Mistral with Olama, for example, you will be able to. For now, it's not developed yet, but it's planned. So if you are concerned about privacy, you can still host yourself the EA, but you'll need to have the computer to do it with some graphic card and enough muscle to produce the file, the response. So if we could do this with there, obviously, really simple one, we can pre-fill response to email. So we could use email pickup or just receive email, pick up the file, pick up the text from the email, and generate a response, and know with it if it's a ask for a quotation, and maybe pre-fill things to salespersons and whatever. So it's the same principle. So I will have an email. If I look at this email with Google Chrome, so it's a response to a quotation, for example, and I could just put it here and have a response pre-formatted. Not all requests with a Mistral or GPT are able to have a predisposed response. So that's why we put a create log at the end. And within the prompt, which I'll show, we can define the model. And you need to have some output rules. Must output valid, XML valid only, use single quotes, follow exactly the structure, populate like this, da, 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 da. And at the end, we will have an email with information extracted from the email and with a summary of the email, and finally a suggested response. Simple one, but still could have some use. Another example we have, which will use XMP, so I will cross my finger about some crash if I use it. But we have some customer which have a lot of file like this. So some images that they will need to classify. So I'm a big fan of Lego, and I have a kid who play with some Playmobil. I have all this image, and I will need to classify them. There is no XMP in it. It's just brand new image that I picked on internet. So I will ask Mistral to read them, then create an XMP in it. So I asked GPT to, from Mistral, to respect the XMP model, create it within create_log, inject it into the file itself, and just to prove that it worked, classify the file within a subfolder structures. So I will have it here. I will open it with and I will have my Barbie, Lego. Within Lego, I will have the sub-brand, Harry Potter, Lego City, Lego ID. And in Lego ID, my image. And nowhere in the image, there is the Lego ID info. Not within the text, not within the file name. It's understood that it was a Lego ID. So it will have some limits. If you ask some obscure brand, it won't find it. But for simple one, it could be really useful. I had a customer with this, with a real use case, who had thousands and thousands of photos, and he needed to classify them with the name of the metal, so gold, silver, the name of the stone on it, so diamond, ruby, sapphire, the number of stone in it, and automatically populate a database. And it have to be done manually without this app. And with this app, it could have been done in hours for thousands of photos with a cost. And the last one, you could also provide two files when you create a description. For example, I have this one where I have an EPUB. So it's a French EPUB, sorry about that. But it's a French EPUB on a mathematic field. So I will have some text and some mathematic diagrams. And by law in Europe, since few months, you need to have an audio description for each images. A text description that will be read by the EPUB reader. And I think the book publisher will have 1 year or 2 years to be conformed to this, even for the old ebook. So that's a lot and lot of ebook to process. And an EPUB is basically an XHTML. Yes. It's basically an XHTML with the image URL. And if you want the GPT or Mistral to describe the image, if you only provide this, there is no context about it. It's just 3 triangles with numbers. So you'll need to push this with the context of the page, which described what's on the page. So if I put both, I will have an XML pickup because XHTML is XML. And in the response, I'll have a real description of the image. It's been processed. A diagram showing equilateral triangle from different perspectives, above illustrating how RP7 in flatland. So is in the book. And obviously, right there, it's just XHTML plus PDF, but you can create some big flow with it, which will go from EPUB to zip, unzip it, put XHTML or image in a flow that will parse it and replace the tag in the HTML, and then reconstruct it. So I have the file here just to loop if you have multiple images in it. And once it's done, having a review description just for want people to validate if everything is okay, and then push and yes, I accept, I accept, I accept. Or if you don't want this, just skip it up, and your EPUB will be done in a few minutes. So once again, no fluke. I will demonstrate it. Sleeves or behind a curtain. I will just push my EPUB. So I will have here all my file plus XHTML. And in a second, within switch alerted job, I will have my file. So I have my image, recycle, a series of 2 diagrams installing sphere cross-sectional, total now, and then I will be able to push to validate the things. Now, as I said previously, just keeps the validating part. I think that's all I have for you today. Maybe I could just talk about perfectly clear minutes, if you allow me, Dave.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Because it's also AR behind the background.
Yeah.
So perfectly clear is an app that will enhance image, not in resolution, but in tone, quality, and things like that. So I have an image. So it will be Davy and Freddy. And it's not that nice. Black, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's not nice. The black and white points is not really good.
Oh, okay, you're not talking about the persons in the picture.
Yeah.
You're talking about the white balance.
That's it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So I'll put it in perfectly clear. Sorry, I had a previous file. It will be passed, and I will get back the file once processed. So right now, it's my image. And the original one was this. The thing with perfectly clear is that you have to apply a preset with some limitation on what you want to do on the file. And you can tweak this profile. So for example, I used the universal, which is provided with the solution, but I could select from library and use School and Sports, Pro, black and white, or whatever you need. The second thing that it does, it's also remove background, which already on some other app, but since it was on the tools, we added it. And I will put again the same file. Delete this one. So remove background with a transparent one. Okay. And it's clean. So not a new feature. Some other apps also have the remove background, but it exists. So here he is, the handsome guys. Okay, so is there still some questions that have not been answered?
Yes, they have, Thomas. About Maxime question. Maxime ask, est-ce qu'il est possible de rendre un PDF accessible? C'est-à-dire l'ordre de tabulation, de lecture, l'intégration automatique de métadonnées sur les images comme pour un EPUB.
Sorry for the French. Let me just translate.
Yeah.
It was in French and I was not able to translate.
Yeah, the question is here to make a PDF accessible. Now, accessible is a big word, of course, but it's a kind of validation on a specific standards to make PDFs accessible and publish this on a website, for example, and making them downloadable. This is also a requirement, for example, if a bank or an insurance company wants to publish PDFs on their websites, they need to be accessible. And this is, for example, adding tags, validation on this and those kind of things, and making them PDF UA and WCAG compliant. I don't know if AI is able to do that, but bear with us. We are talking to a new app creator who still needs to start that development, but the intention is that we integrate Switch with their services, and they are specialized in making PDFs, PDF UA and WCAG compliance. So we ask you for a little bit time. They still need to start development, but we are coming with a new app on the App Store that will be able to do that. Let me see, handsome guys right there, of course. Maxime. Rack does local. I don't know, Florian, of.
I don't know if you
Thomas.
can create some RAG with Mistral locally with Olama. I need to deep dive in the documentation, but I think it's definitely doable.
Okay.
And if not, not with this application right now, not with iConnect Pro, because it will be a thing within the within Olama itself. And you could custom within Olama. I know that you can custom some new models. And when we will be implementing, because it's not a if, it will be a when we will be implementing Olama, obviously we will be able to retrieve with library your own models.
Okay, nice. Another question, how about privacy of the invoice, quote, PO data? Privacy is a big concern, of course.
Yes, I think it has been answered already.
I can see one question, Thomas, about from Bill. It asks, can the pre-flight AI be available in the PDF? Also, Pitstop can perform some fixes. It will be able to report these fixes within the app. It's the last question in the chat.
Can the preference PDFs? When you talk about PDF, Bill, it's about the PDF report itself?
Yes.
I don't think so. Right now, we are not able to do this because the report itself is a PDF that is not editable by Pitstop. If you make some chats with GPT or Mistral, asking some question and ask him to simplify the reports, you may be able to edit the PDF itself with Pitstop with search and replace, but still it's not that easy to do. The next thing is, if you need to do this within Pitstop, you already have the ability to change the default response by something simpler.
Okay. Let's go through some other questions. Again, we need to go through the questions even if they're answered, because they are answered on one level, and we of course want to share this information also to everybody in the audience. Do we have to pay Mistral AI, pro version or free version?
Right now, I have no subscription to Mistral. Mistral, I don't know why, I don't know how, but you doesn't have to pay to use it like I does today.
Okay.
Just create an account, create a token, and I can log in within Mistral. I won't show my log, but Mistral. Second, usage. So that's here.
You're not sharing your screen, huh?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll share again. So screen 2. That my Mistral. I do not have a single usage prompt for month, and I use it every day. So
Okay.
that's it. And as I said previously, if you need to fine-tune models, you can here fine-tune models, and fine-tuning models is a paid features. So you'll need to pay by usage when you use a fine-tune models. So you'll have to create some data sets, training it, added it, and then it will work.
Okay. Well,
And
thank
you
you.
can obviously create some agents
Mm-hmm.
to add some prompts within that already be embedded within your prompt.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nice. Thank you. Question from Ted. Have you had any issues with hallucination in generating the emails? I think we're talking about the emails that has been created for the pre-flighting report.
We have less and less hallucination. Within Mistral as GPT, you have, I will pick it up again. You have a temperature settings, which evolve between 0 and 1. The less this value is, the lowest hallucination you will have. However, if it's set to 0, it will strictly use only the given materials. And you'll have this sort of uncanny valley things when you know it has been generated by AI if you do not put sufficient enough temperature, because it will reuse the word used by your customer in the email. And you can see when an email has been responded this way, because it will pick up topic by topic what you have said previously to respond to you. And it's not a pleasant thing to see.
Okay. Thank you.
But just on last note on this, it's not that we do not have that much hallucination, but you'll have to tweak a lot the prompt before using it to switch on it.
Okay. Let me see if we still have some other questions. Mr. Output can be integrated with agentic workflow tools like LinkedIn. Doesn't focus with to develop agents to work with agentic workflow tools. This is a path that we're looking at. This is on a level of development that I cannot stress the details yet, but it is on our development path, Stefan. Thanks for the info on Mistral. Okay, perfect. I think we handled all the questions, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of questions to Thomas, you, and also to Sean. Thomas, what you've shown today, is this theory or is it practice? Meaning, for example, is this a dream or is this already used at customers?
It's already used at customer. Not that much customer, because you need to make the move to go to AI, but there was really some used already.
And how do they see already the improvement of using those tools? Is for example, they cut time, customer success?
It's really successful, and the most use we had is with thing with XMP tag generation. Just to label photo, for example. It's our most successful thing yet.
Sean, on your end?
Yeah, same principle. Most of the apps that we develop are in direct relation to a request or a specific workflow that a client needed. And so in the case of the Wait for Asset Plus and the Fuzzy Matcher, we have one account using them relating to like 1 million plus templates that they have in their system, and so it's always been a hassle for them without proper naming conventions to find templates and to find files. So in combination with the fuzzy matcher as well as the wait for asset plus, you know, it knocks that, you know, hour plus search down to a couple of minutes.
So it was not an idea that you came up with because you got drunk with one of the Enfocus people. Okay, now if, for example, you're interested in one of the apps that has been shown here today, let me just share my screen again. I have them all lined up on my screen. Here we go. So if, share. There we go. So if you're interested in Wait for Asset Plus, in Fuzzy Matcher, in AI Connect Pro, in Perfectly Clear, all of them are in our App Store. They're also available for a 30-day trial. So go ahead and test them and try them. Again, implementing AI will also take a level of effort to do that. You will need to spend some time, but there are a lot of benefits that you can get out of it. Well, the only thing I want to mention, first of all, I want to thank Sean, Florian, and Thomas for this webinar, preparing this webinar, showing this to our audience as well, giving those real life examples that already are used at our customers as well. A couple of announcements, upcoming webinars. Next week, we have our next webinar as well, together with Visus image enhancement app, also using AI, new app on our App Store. That is next Tuesday. We have another webinar coming up together with PrintIQ that also talks about AI, but that we're also going to show, together with PrintIQ, live examples from customers and how customers already implemented AI in their environment, together with PrintIQ and Enfocus Switch. And also in October, we have another upcoming webinar together with Good to Go as well. So keep an eye on your mailbox, register for the webinars, and more to come in the future. Thank you for your attention, and see you at the next webinar.